Ladies and gentlemen, the show is called The Play is the Thing. Moderator, Judy Sleed. Special guest, Audrey Morgan, teacher and poet. Directed by Stephen Blum. Now here's Judy.
Hello everyone, I'm Judy Sleed and you're looking at The Play is the Thing. And today I have lovely Audrey Morgan as my guest. I have discovered her, quote unquote, when she showed some slides about the artworks, not her work, but other people. And I was fascinated the way she described every picture, every artwork from different artists. Well, hello, Audrey.
Hi, Judy.
So would you like to tell me and all the world about your artwork, that you're an art teacher?
I was an art teacher years ago. That's what I studied. And I was putting together what you saw, a series called Art and the Bible, which was a series of stories based on slides that told different stories about the Bible. So the one that you saw was called Moses and the Sea of Reeds, and it was a story of the Exodus, Moses and the Israelites, their exodus from Egypt, and it was told in terms of art and painting, from medieval times, from the Renaissance, from contemporary times, and the artist's version of the story. And that's what you saw.
And I was also fascinated when you saw that picture, how you said, oh, these are blues, and can you see that's the sea? And the little thing here, a little thing at the colors, and it's like you knew what the painter was doing.
Yes, I spoke about the artist and what the artist does. Not that he copies reality, but his relationship with the viewer and the story from the Bible. So we did like Chagall. The first slide was Chagall. And it showed a drawing of Moses, which was very large on the left. And then it was the exodus of the Israelites at the top of the canvas, and then the Egyptians drowning in the water on the bottom of the canvas. And there was an angel in it, and it was very, primitive is a wrong word, but it was very clear and very simply told. And it was very beautifully done. Not realistic at all, but very dreamlike, very surrealistic. But he made his point.
And you also used the word, see the triangle there.
Oh, during the Renaissance, the artists of the Renaissance used different techniques. And these techniques were known. And a lot of them used the idea of a triangle in the painting. The triangle, the equilateral triangle, consisted of a figure at the top, and then it was weighted on the sides by other figures. So that became the focal point of the painting. And usually Moses is at the top of the triangle, or Jesus, or whoever the central figure is in the painting, and they become the focal point of the painting. But the Renaissance artists had a lot of devices. They used the S-curve to go back into space. They used color. They used light to focus on the important thing in the figure. And so that was the emphasis that I brought out in these paintings that actually were of Moses and the Israelites exiting Egypt, and the Egyptians being drowned by the closing of the water in the Sea of Reeds.
Yes, so that really fascinated me, how you went into the artist's mind to describe it. It was really, I felt that you really knew the stuff, and that I spoke to a lot of different artists, but nobody spoke about it like you.
The artists what's fascinating, which I've always found, looking at a painting or a canvas is very much like looking at the windshield when you're driving in the car.
Yes,
and you can look through that windshield to miles ahead of you, or closer at the hood of the car, or you can look at the glass, or you could look at the sticker, the registration sticker, or you could look at something on the glass, like a fly or a windshield wiper. So you have different dimensions. The artist offers you the same thing with the canvas. He can give you just so much space to look into it, like 10 feet or maybe 2 miles. So with Moses and the Israelites, you can look way into the distance all the way to Mount Sinai, or you can look at a very close space, maybe 10 feet, or it can be totally flat like Chagall paints. So,
and you also made a lot of comments about the colors, like the
yes.
whites and the blues, and sometimes like a little red.
Very often, the artist can take like reds, and because of the way the reds are arranged in the painting and what happens to them, your eyes will pick up all the reds. So if there's a very bright red in the front, your eyes can almost follow that all the way through the painting until it fades out at the end. The Italians used something in light called chiaroscuro, which was a technique of light and dark. So those areas that are lit become the focal points, and the artist paints them in light. So that's where you end up looking all the time. The S-curve was another technique where it starts out at the beginning and things are very clear. And then as you go back into the painting and follow this curve, things diminish in size, in detail, in, I don't know, I guess just size and detail, but they go all the way back into the painting and they carry your eye into the painting.
Do you paint yourself?
Oh, I did for many years, but I've given it up since I've been here. I draw. I like to do figure drawing.
Oh,
but
yes.
I write poetry a lot now, more than anything else.
Oh, so now you write poetry.
Yes.
Well, I think I've seen a few of your poetries in leaflets.
Yes.
We belong to the East Hampton Synagogue, and a lot of times they print your poetry.
Yeah, because it usually talks about life. And
Yes.
it's visual, though, in the same way that I paint, although I was an abstract expressionist, so that's not true. But it describes things. And I'm working on a new group of poems now that have to do with sound. So it creates a visual picture that's very tactile. That's what I'm working on now.
So would you think that your poem and your art drawing is sort of connected
Yes.
in a way?
Very much so, yes.
It's amazing. So where did you get this talent? Who in your family was an artist or had an eye for art?
My parents appreciated it. I think my father drew a little, but when I was 13, my 8th grade teacher said, "Audrey, you draw well. You really need to do something with it." And I took the test for music and art high school in New York. And at the time, it was downtown, well, it was uptown on 135th Street and Convent Avenue, and I made it. So at 13, it was 3 trains and a bus and music and art high school for 4 years.
Wow, so you're from the Bronx, I hear.
Yes, right.
I wonder how many people know where the Bronx is, or what a Bronx is.
Where the Bronx is, one of those boroughs, right? From a long time ago now, yeah.
Right, and how did you end up in Long Island?
Let's see, when I was halfway through music and art, we moved to Queens. My father was doing very well. He was in what was then called the appetizing business, the food business. He sold lox and cream cheese and things. And then from there, let's see, I finished music and art, and I made Hunter College, and I went to Hunter College from Queens. So I took my degrees there, and it was still 3 trains and a bus. And I swore when I was through with Hunter, I was going to do something where I could drive. So I got a job teaching in the Westbury High School system, and I taught there for 8 years.
You taught art?
I taught art, yes. Yes.
So
Right.
this
Taught
is
art
like
to wonderful children.
like a synopsis, because it's not a whole day show, it's only a half-hour show.
Right.
So we have to crash everything in.
Okay.
So, and in the meantime, where did you meet your better half?
Oh, my mother's friend.
You bet.
My mother's friend, he came home from the Marines, and he went to visit a friend of his, and that friend of his mother's said that he should call me, which he did. I was 17. He was a little older, and he called me, and we had our first date, and I think I fell in love right at that point. But we didn't get married for 7 years because we were children, and we had a lot of things we both wanted to do.
What a smart thing.
So we waited, and we've been together a long time since then.
See, you were smart from the very beginning.
Well, we were so young. I mean, I was 17. Yeah. I was going to high school and college, and he was also. He had just come back from the Marines. We had no money, so it didn't really make sense. Maybe it did, I don't know, but we didn't.
Well, besides all this artwork and the writing poetry, you said you owned a store?
I did. Most of the jobs and the businesses that I was in from the time the children were young had to do with things that had to do with interior design, which I didn't realize at the time. I worked for Rosenthal China. I sold china in Bloomingdale's, and I taught arranging table settings and the history of China to the people who were working with Rosenthal. I sold carpet. I sold drapery. I worked for Ethan Allen. What else did I do? Oh, I sold window treatments. All these things that were interior design, and I didn't realize I was going somewhere with it. And then I got a job doing interior design with a firm in Connecticut. And then I went to work for Ann Mullen, who was doing Imus's house at the time. And we worked together on that. And then after I learned a lot from the woman. She was a wonderful designer. And then after I worked for her, I waited a year to see what I was all about. And then I opened a business in Connecticut called Audrey Morgan Interiors in Westport. And I did very well. And I was there for, I guess, about 18, 19 years.
Wow.
Before I retired out here.
You mentioned that you were raising children in between?
Yes, in between. I did.
In between
I have
all
two
these
wonderful
different
daughters, yes.
3 wonderful daughters?
Two daughters, yes. Rachel and Lydia, yes. So that was good. Rachel lives in Valley Stream, and Lydia is in Arizona. She has 3 boys. So that's been, and Rachel has a boy and a girl. So those are my grandchildren, 5 of them.
Great. And what's your husband doing in the meantime?
He's retired. He has a fabulous stamp collection. He does a lot of things in the yard. He had a wonderful business in Scarsdale on Central Avenue. He had moved out of the airline business, where he was an executive, the airline and hotel business, and he had a store in Scarsdale, which did very well. So between the two of us, we've really been workaholics until 5 years ago when we retired out here.
And seems like you not only, you are working all the time, but the fascinating thing is it was not one thing. You went from one line to the other line, a different line, and you were successful in all of them. That says a lot. Pretty
much, but the kids were very young, so it was hard to stay in one business. I always had to base it on their schedules, and it was a lot of part-time jobs in the neighborhood, things like that. That's where the carpet and everything. I was one of the first women to measure carpeting commercially and figure out how much carpet was necessary for a commercial building. But I learned that. So all of that was interior design, and I didn't know it until...
And you had some famous clients among the regular clients?
Oh, yes. In Westport, I worked with the Newmans, Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward. I worked with, oh goodness, I think of names. It's not good for me. Peter, Paul, and Mary. Mary used to come in my store. Who else? Westport had a wonderful playhouse, and a lot of the actors and actors who had been in the area came into my store. I worked on some fabulous houses, houses on islands and New York apartments on Central Park West. Had a fabulous career, really, really nice.
So when you say you helped them with the interior design, like you helped them decorate their home, their apartments?
I did the whole house. I would consult with the architect in some cases, and then from there we did all the furnishings in the house, paint colors, draperies, whatever the case was. But it was a wonderful career, really fun.
You mentioned something about you went overseas and you were very impressed, and then you opened up a store.
Oh, that was my husband and I, when we were living in New York, we went on a trip because he was with Pan American Airlines at the time. So we went to Barcelona, and there was this store that was selling things from all over the world, primarily Spanish artwork and furniture and accessories. And we loved what we saw. It's not what you would typically call Spanish, but we came back, and we were both working, but there was a place for rent on 3rd Avenue and 32nd Street, which we took. We filled it with Spanish furnishings. My husband's mother went to work, and we did very well. It was called
Another
the Spanish
success
Touch.
story.
Yes.
So many. I think somebody should write a book about you,
Well,
your life.
it's complicated.
But I understand you are doing that yourself, or you're
Yes.
in the midst of it.
Well, my children here in Valley Stream said I should write a biography. So I started to write it, and then I realized that it would be nice to write my poems. So it ended up being, it's not ended, it's in the midst. I'm writing poetry and illustrating it with my beach drawings from Montauk.
You also illustrate. You did mention that earlier, that you
Yes.
don't paint, but you do drawings, illustrations.
Well,
Yes.
I have a sketchbook, and I do drawings around Montauk in pen, and these drawings work very well with the poems, so I've been putting the whole thing together.
Well, can you just take out a page from that leaflet and just read a poem, and then I would like to show one of the drawings also.
Oh, okay. Be nice.
So, okay.
This one's called Here Where the Gull Flies. Here where the gull flies and dips and smashes the clamshell, where the cormorant dives and scores, where the crows shriek and prod the owl, where the deer scavenge and get skinny, where the ocean boils and eats the sand, where the wind screams and hurts, where the rain and snow whip the house, where branches bend and creak and break, where the earth is gray with winter views, where the pond is frozen black and shiny, where the soul becomes worn and tired. Here a dew-wet morning sings and chills a lawn of crystal grass. Here the rain is kinder, gentler, and a wisp of air is warm and sweet. Here infant buds are brave, and a cardinal sentry guards his feeding mate. Here rabbit tails hop and scoot. Baby house wrens squeak and fuss and plead. Here on the bank a graying Alice breathes deeply and stumbles into spring.
It's really very, very nice, very nice. I'm wondering how one writes such a poem. Do you get inspired and you start writing, or how does it happen with you?
I don't know, Judy. I'm not really sure. I just kind of find the first line, and from there it goes. I work on the computer, which I love because my typing used to be awful. So I can work on the computer and make corrections as I go. It's very visual with me, just the way the art was. I kind of see and feel the things I'm writing about. I'm trying something new this week, which I've been slaving over, and that is the idea, instead of writing the visuals, like here on the bank a graying Alice breathes deeply, I'm trying to write about sounds, like the sounds of the bird song, the caw, the squeak, the screech. So that's what I've been working on this week, to see if I can do the same thing with sound that I do with vision. So we'll see where I go from there.
Seems like you are always challenging yourself.
Yes, I like to do that. I like to keep myself busy, right?
And you decided, so how many poems would you say you have written so far?
We have a book full. They're growing. It's growing. I have old poetry, which I didn't include in this, unless I felt it was worthy. So
Okay, can we see that one of your sketches?
Sure. Here, this one's fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can you pick it up here?
Well, okay,
There's a figure on the beach there. It's a contour drawing, the one that you have. I don't know if you can.
Okay, let's see if we could get a close-up on this. And while they're putting the camera on, can you explain this?
This is just a woman sitting on the beach in a chair with an umbrella, reading a book. And some of the things that she has with her is a basket, water, and the things you take to the beach. But I thought the line of it is really fun. So I have a whole series of drawings with that kind of feeling, very linear, very visual. They're sort of comments or gestures is really what they are.
That's great.
It's fun.
It is. So you have all these poems, collection of poems, and now you are putting it in a book form. Do they connect? Do they connect the
I think they
poems
connect
with the story?
They connect because of style. Part of the front of the book is a history of my family and things about my mother. So there are pictures in it, old photographs from the family.
Okay,
Oh, here's one. This is my father's family. Maybe this is easy to show.
Okay. Wow, this is great.
That's
this
my
is
father's
the father's
family from
family
Russia. Right.
from Russia.
Right.
So pictures.
And this is my father down here.
That little baby.
That little baby was my father before he came here, and this is his father
this
up here.
is priceless.
So there are poems and stories about my father, about my mother. They're in here as well.
So in this book, you will include pictures like these.
Yes.
And even I saw one you as a baby.
Oh yes, right here.
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is Audrey Morgan.
Right.
Look at that.
3 months, I think. I think 3 months old.
Wasn't she adorable baby?
Right.
And
that's
baby,
good.
look at you now.
Right, right. That was a long time ago.
I love to look at old pictures like
Oh, me
this.
too. I have albums that go with this, but I just took a few select stories and put them in here. And then there's things that tell about the Bronx and Brooklyn and Seagate, which is where I grew up, and my Rockaway summers. And it's all sort of in here in order.
That's wonderful.
And it goes through
I mean, this is
my
going to
life.
take you a while to put it together, but it's a wonderful idea to put everything together.
I think it's
that
fun.
you've done, because you've done a lot of different things in your life.
Well, the poems
Except
and things.
your husband told me you don't sing or dance.
No, I don't sing or dance. I like to sing. I like to sing prayers and things in temple. That's fun, but I'm far from that. Although I enjoy it. I mean, it's not anything I would mention.
So we're going to just say very briefly about what you're doing at our synagogue. You put a new program together.
Yes, with Shelley Lichtenstein, who's in charge of education. She's the director of education. We put together a program called Grandmas and Grandpas. In Hebrew, Savas and Saftas.
Yeah.
And you're part of it.
Yes.
And we go to, each are assigned to a different class level, and we work with the students and the teachers to give the, it's a linking of the generations with today's generation. So we help in the classroom, we assist, we mentor, and we share. And it's really been fun.
And this was your brainchild.
No, it was Shelley Lichtenstein's brainchild, but she and I developed it together.
Oh.
So we got started, we made telephone calls, and we got different people to work at different grade levels. And it's been really wonderful. You're doing well, you're working with a particular grade. And I'm with
second grade.
Yeah, and I work with the 12-year-olds before their bat and bar mitzvah. So it's been really an event.
Yes.
Yeah, and the rabbi is working with us, so we're enjoying it.
Yeah, it is. It's very successful. So this is just another thing you added to your talents.
Well, I didn't know about talents, but it's the old teaching sort of comes to the fore. When I was teaching art in Westbury, I always had a student teacher working with me. Mainly because there were 37 kids in the class, and I was teaching art, and it was an impossible task for one person. But this is kind of the same thing in that we work as student teachers or apprentices in the classroom with the kids.
Now,
and the
I'm just
teacher.
wondering, after all this, if you're still looking for something new to do.
If it should occur or something's out there, we never know. We never know.
You said you like to sing, so maybe...
Oh, no, I doubt that. No, I like to cook very much. I love to make dinner.
I like to cook.
I love to set the table. I love to decorate, but not professionally anymore.
Maybe you'll put a cookbook together.
No, I think the poetry book is where I'm at. Although I do love to cook. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's quite a lot for one person. It is. Like you said, now that you are retired, you're still doing something.
The nice thing is that I have choices. I mean, when I had my business, everything had to be done. Now I can pick and choose where I want to go, what I want to do, what my time schedule is. And it's really, if I want to take a day off, it's not terrible. You know,
Yes,
it's a wonderful
you
time
deserve
of
it.
life. It really is. We're living
So
in
how
our...
often do you travel?
We haven't traveled a lot since we've been here. This is the first time in life we've really been able to stay in one place. My husband, Bernie, was with Pan Am. We traveled all over the world. We were back and forth to Arizona to see my younger daughter many times.
Well, that's what I'm thinking about. How often do you see them? Will they come to you?
This year we haven't. They do. Yes, they bring the whole family, all 5 of them, the 3 boys who are 15, 11, and 2. And they come, and their mother and father. And it's a lot of fun. It really is. We go to the beach. We do all kinds of things together.
That's nice. Yeah. And you have a big house. You have time.
We really have, no, we actually have a small house, but we have 3 bedrooms, and 3 baths, and a huge center room. So and it's on a beautiful pond.
And you have a huge kitchen.
Yes, I have a very big kitchen and a very big center room, which is the dining room and the living room. So everybody kind of meets in that big space. And of course, we have a lot of land, so that outside.
I don't know if that was the poem that you wanted to read.
That was good.
That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Because we're running out of time. We can't even read another poem.
Can I read another one? Oh, I'd like to.
Well, if you could do it in 1 minute.
Oh, all right. I have the new one. It's short. Okay. And then you can cut me off. It's okay. Wouldn't be the first time. A doe sky presses down on the ocean. Advancing gunmetal, swirling currents eclipse the beach and suck back, leaving wet, wavy curves of foam. Soldier gulls at the ready, studding the sand, facing into the wind, shivering white and gray feathers, babble, racket of wings, raucous shrieks, ascent, tumultuous legions swarm the horizon, chase the trawlers dragging nets. The infinite span of ocean meets the heavy gray-white sky, betraying the earth's secret. Tan shimmer of boundless spread of sand, like the peace that comes with some sleep. Light abates, fades into dusk and jet black. A crescent sliver hosts the new month as a band of coral haze welcomes the day.
That's beautiful. As they say, it's very poetic.
Okay.
Well, I just want to give credit for Lupita, who did my hair. She did it like this morning, and it's still holding up beautifully. She was really very artistic in doing it. And of course, I want to thank you, Audrey, for sharing with us and with me and everybody all these wonderful things you're doing. You're very talented. I know you for quite a time, but I just didn't know all these things about you.
Thank you. Thank you, Judy.
So,